everybody. This lesson is still the continuum of the proportion and how we are making the proportion. I took a picture of what I have here. It's a lot of the background for this. Don't look at these parts, but I have three objects and I want to make a proportional drawing of them. We are still working just with the lines. Then don't shade it and don't add values to the drawing that you're making. For the first drawing that we did with proportion, we talk about making, first of all, everything that we see in the simplest shape. And we're going to continue with this simplest shape that we have. This shape that I have here, it can be a trapezoid shape, or I can make some kind of the rectangular shape on top of each other. The important part of this shape is that we compare these together. Each of them is a little higher than the one above it. Then we have to look at not only the shape, we have to divide it in the different parts. After that, we're going to compare the size of the three objects that we have. We're going to talk about the overlapping and space in the next lesson, but right now the only things that I'm going to tell you is the object that the closest object to me is the eggplant, and it's the lowest one. Then we have the pear and the vase. So I'm gonna start with the making the vase first. So remember the medium that I'm using is wine charcoal. I'm still using of the wine charcoal for the lines and newsprint. So my first and largest object that I want to have is that one. I know that I have to have some space for the two other objects, eggplant and pear, that I have here. Then I have to just first thinking about the location of my objects, then have space for them. Don't start from here and then see you don't have enough space. So this is gonna be my first one. I'm looking of the ratio that I have between height and between the widest part of my object. Again, look at this. You can compare it from the here and seeing that this one is less than 2 times higher than the width. The same time that you can use of the measurement from the space that distance that you have between them, and we're gonna have the width part of this and saying that okay, this is my bottom part, and if it's the widest part that I want to have, I have to have 1, this is the 1, and less than 2. Then it's almost correct. Sometimes it's not correct and we have to change the place of the line. I'm gonna make a line for central line that I want to have, okay? And as I'm looking of the top part and bottom part, top part is less than half of the bottom part. Then if it's the top part, and I'm gonna start with this, remember that these two parts, they have to be has the same distance here. I'm looking of this one is more than space that I need, then I'm gonna correct it, and each of them gonna be 1 part of this because it's about 2 times and even more. Then I'm gonna add about a little more to that. The shape that I have, for me it's a trapezoid shape. then coming with the line, and I have to divide it to 4 sections. Each sections that we have to be a little taller than the one that is above it. Then I'm gonna come and just little by little I'm making the sections smaller and smaller. Then this is the first one, this is gonna be the second part, and this is my third. So now is that we are making the details. For the details, just making some marks for yourself, and remember this mark that we are making, this and this, okay, they have to have again the same distance from here. I'm going with this part of this and making the same distance, you know, the same here and the same here. This is the part that we have the curves, and then remember that where is the widest part that you have, this part has to be in the same level. The part that is the, we can say the wider part or the fattest part that we have, all of them, they have to be in the same level. And I'm just making a shape, is very easy. Then I'm gonna adjust it. I'm looking of the part that I have here and the part that I have here. Both of them has to be continue on the same curve for me. Then we're gonna add some kind of the correction again. So we're almost done. Just the open part of this. The open part, it's not going until the edge of my object. It's gonna be just in the center of this and make it like a oval shape, and that's it. Then this is for our first object. The second object that I want to continue with this is eggplant. Eggplant, this is the part that we are adding to our last lessons, comparing the size of 2 objects. If I make my eggplant here with a great, you know, shape and great proportion, without comparing it to the first object, you can see that it's not the correct one. The eggplant has to be larger than this. Then this is the part that we have to compare the height of our object, first object and second object, or the width of these together. And for the double checking, we're gonna compare the height and width of the object with itself too. Look at the part that you see the overlapping. For me, it's starting from this part and it's gonna just continue until almost here. Okay, then I know that this is, I can see more of the bottom part of this. The picture that you see has a little different perspective what I have here, but I have to compare. Most of the part of the eggplant is in the bottom part and less of this is here. Then compare the height and width of the eggplant, and you're gonna find out that it's the height, it's 2 times larger than the width. Then our first guess was correct. Sometimes it's not. And the shape that we have, remember, you cannot put this line here and bringing everything here. This is almost asymmetrical. It's a organic shape, but still this is a little symmetrical. I make it the central line a little with the angle here, not completely horizontal. And then I'm gonna coming with the shapes to get closer to our central line. Then this is gonna be the shape that we have. If we want to make a geometric shape for that, we can make a triangle first. I'm sorry, rectangular shape first, and then add the detail of this inside of triangle rectangular shape. Then is that I'm adding some of the details that I see here. It's not finished yet. We're gonna back to them for more adjustment and detail. The pearl is between these two for the placement. Then I'm finding the place of this. I'm looking of the space that I have between my central object and pearl. And the pearl, I know it's start here and it's going until the first part of the vase. Then it should be a good place for this. And then I'm gonna compare the width and height of the pearl. When you're looking of this, the pearl, the bottom part, this bottom part is almost the same of our eggplant. Then I'm making it almost the same, and I'm gonna come with the symmetrical line. Again, it's not very symmetrical, but we're gonna start with the central lines to make it symmetrical. The shapes is that we have a maybe circle shape here. Mostly it can be more oval shape than circle shape, and we have another circle here. And then if I want to connect them together, and again, this part and this part are not exactly the same, and we are not gonna make it exactly the same. This is the part that I have the sticks and the sticks coming out of this. Now I'm gonna just raise all of the lines that I don't need to see them. Clean it and adding the shades that you see. I can see one shades here. I have a reflection here that I can see. Most important part is when you're adding it, you have to go with the form. Don't make it like I have a shade here and it's like that. These geometric shapes, flat shapes make your object flat. You have to go with the direction of the form, thinking that you're really making the shape on the top of the pearl, and that's gonna make it more 3D. The same that we are doing for that ones, that I have a shadow here, I have a line here, I can see a line and a shadow of this. Again, I can see a line here and shadow of this here. This exercise mostly is about comparison of the size. Then I'm not ask you to going with a lot of the details to it. The next one that you're doing with the pencil must have all the details, but it's not that don't look at the major reflection and major shadow that you have and outline them. No shading and no using of the values.